This is Brittney Slayes from Unleash the Archers, and you're watching Loud TV.
So let's go for our very first interview with you, Brittney. Welcome on Loud TV. And there's a new album for Unleash the Archers. It's out in August.
Yes.
So, I mean, the album is ready for months, I suppose.
Well, not exactly. We've recorded in January, and it was probably ready like in March. Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to do as well besides just record. So, music videos and artwork and all of the sort of logistics behind merchandise and all that. So the music was ready, but we definitely weren't. I mean, the release day did get pushed back a little bit. We were supposed to originally release in mid-July, but due to COVID and pressing issues, really is kind of the big one. Things like all of the vinyl pressing plants and CD distributors, they were all closed, so we had to push that back. And then I mean, the tours that we had booked for the fall, of course, are not happening, and all of the festivals that we were going to be doing this summer, sort of as press, I guess you could say, for the record, just to kind of get our name out there so that people will be aware that the record is coming. All of that is postponed till next year. So COVID definitely put a wrench in the plans. But 2021 is looking like it's all going to come together again. So hopefully that works out. I'm not too sure. No expectations on my part. Yeah.
You have recorded this new album again in Denmark with Jacob.
Yes.
Jacob Benson. Did you go physically to Denmark?
We just wanted that sort of like destination record setting. It's we always try and have everything written before we get there, so that when we are in the studio, it's just work. We're not writing anything. We're not wasting time, because time is money in the studio, of course. So we just get in there and we lay down the tracks and we get out. I just feel like it doesn't drag it out. If we record at home, we're working around people's work schedules and family life and that kind of thing. And whereas this is like, okay, we're going to be gone for a month. We're going to get it done, and we're not going to have to think about it again. So that's really kind of the biggest reason as to why. And also Jacob is phenomenal. So we know what he can do. We trust in him. So when he says, oh no, yeah, I got it, like, let's move on to the next one, I trust him, and I know that he got it. So as opposed to by myself in a studio, I might be like, no, let's do it again and again and again and again, and just want to get it perfect. Whereas Jacob often goes more for the emotional sort of side of things, whereas I would be like, no, every note has to be perfect, and that kind of thing. So
do you like to be in studio?
No. It's nerve-wracking. It's really hard, and you're just pushing yourself to the limit, and you never feel like you did it well, and it's just kind of like, it's a lot of pressure. It's stressful. And then at the end of it, you just hope that that you put out something worth listening to. And a lot of times, like every time, it's always I get it back and I'm like, I should have done this there, or shoot, that word doesn't make any sense, or like, why did I say this like that, or like, God, can I just like insert a little word here, or change this, change that? But there comes a time when you have to just let it go, and that's what it is. So you just have to hope that people are easy on you.
And the album contains tons and tons of solo guitars.
Yes, of course.
Is it the work of both guitarists?
Yes, yeah, they always write their own solos. So Andrew wrote all the riffs on this one. This this album. So it all started with like everything that he had written, and then we all just wrote our parts around it basically. And so Grant, every song, Andrew would have like a space, and he'd be like, "This is where you go." And yeah, I thought they did an amazing job. I always, we always say that you can tell a really good guitar solo when you can sing along with it every note. So I think they did a lot of that this time, which is really, really great.
And they are very very melodic, and this is the high point of your band and your this album is you like the melodies.
Yes, yeah, I think it's super important. Well, we we really think that it's important to have something that stands out in the mind of the listener. And so when they stop, when they go, whatever to work and aren't listening to the album anymore, that it's in their head and they just cannot wait to the moment or for the moment when they can go back to listening to it or hearing that riff again or hearing that chorus line or whatever. And so we tried to make sure that every song was very much um, strong melodically, guitar wise, and vocally as well, so that it would just stick in your head. Yeah.
um, which I like in this new album. It's you. I I see that you wear Iron Maiden shirts,
Yes.
and I feel this album is less Iron Maiden style for this one, more than the previous one, which maybe a more classical heavy metal style.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Apex was very much on the traditional heavy metal side of things, kind of even like hard rock in some places. And Abyss is definitely a more of a heavy metal record. Um, Kind of like even more power metal in there than before. We've always kind of played around with genres, and we have a song that's more of a death metal song, and we have a song that's more of a rock song, or we always kind of have a little bit of everything on there. But I feel like this record really has a lot of power metal aspects to it, and but a little bit of everything else too. I mean, it's just you just kind of want to play whatever pops in your head at the time. So
And you're right. Every song is totally different, or it's not the opposite, but it's really a journey, and
mhm,
each song is really different from another, and even the song Legacy.
mhm.
It's funny because it makes me think about another Canadian artist, Devin Townsend.
Yes, yeah. That was the point.
Really?
That's our Heavy Debbie song. It was very much inspired by him, and our music has always been inspired by him. There's always been points here and there in songs that are kind of taking from his epic style, and so this time I was just like straight up, this is a Devin Townsend song. And so I did what he does with like the millions of vocals coming from everywhere and just layers and layers of sound and very cinematic and just kind of trying to create a wall of noise that comes out at you, but still is really melodic and very flowing. And there isn't actually even a traditional chorus in there, so we were kind of messing around with song structure like he does as well. And yeah, I really love that track. I think it turned out really cool, and it's not like anything else that we've ever done. So it was very much an experiment for us, and I hope that everyone else thinks that it worked, because we feel like maybe it might have worked. So, um, but yeah, we definitely focused very much so on every song and made sure that it fit right where it was positioned in the album, and that it sounded right coming after the song before it and coming before the song that came next, and just to make sure that everything fit together perfectly, so that even though the tracks are quite different, you understand and you're still kind of on that journey that is the record. And you never feel like you've been pulled out and all of a sudden you're just kind of like, whoa, where does this come from, so we hope that people can hear that.
Great. And there are also screaming vocals
Yes.
made made by the guitarist, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What about you? You should scream, you know?
I mean, I just never have learned how to do it, and I don't know if it's too late for me to learn how to do it now, but I mean, I just can't seem to get a handle on it. I would love to because I write all the screaming parts as well, and sometimes I'm like, no, 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 do it this way, and he's like, no, I don't like that. I'm doing it this way, and then I'm like, God damn it, and so I mean, there's nothing wrong with the way that Grant does them. Obviously, they sound amazing at the end of the day, but I'm always kind of like, if I could do this myself, it would sound exactly like I wrote it. But you got to compromise in a band. That's what it's all about. So Grant has to make it his own.
Okay. And there is so we can see old school artwork.
Yeah.
You can say it. It's not digital. Is it a painting?
It, yeah, it's actually a physical painting, and he put it in the mail for us the other day. So we're gonna see the real thing pretty soon here. I'm so excited. But yeah, he's incredibly talented. If you follow him on Instagram, but his name's Adam Burke, and he is insanely talented. And he, the artist that did Apex was not available to do Abyss, so we were kind of like, who do we find that does something kind of like what he does, but also is a little bit different. And we were searching around, and we found the Sign of the Swarm album that was really cool and very much the feeling that we wanted. And but we couldn't find the artist, like nowhere. We could not, for the life of us, find the name of the guy that did the album artwork. And so when we finally figured it out, I was just like, Adam, you need to tell those guys to put your name on these things, because it was a tough time, but we figured it out. And I just think that he did such an incredible job. He's very, very good at what he does, and we're super, super stoked on it. We basically just said, so this is what's happening. This is the whole story of the album. We'd like it to be the art to be like an exact moment from the story, and then yeah, and he just came up with like a sketch, and I was like, yep, that's perfect. Let's keep going. And then he was like, which colors are you thinking? And I sent like a photo of like a super crazy what's it called? Not a nebula, but I think it was just a spiral galaxy that I sent him actually. And I was like, make it look like this in the sky. And he's like, okay. And it just, yeah, just was really great to work with.
And so, what's the story? Is it a concept album, a sci-fi, like a sci-fi movie, or stuff like
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. It's a concept record that continues from what happened in Apex. So in Apex, we were introduced to the Immortal, who was our main character, and the Matriarch, who is our villain. And the Immortal is basically this cursed being who is forced to serve whoever awakens him. And so in Apex, of course, he is awakened by the Matriarch, and she forces him to go find her four sons and bring them to her so she can kill them in a ritual to achieve immortality. And so he does this, but it's difficult. And at the beginning of it all, she promised that she would free him once he did this, because she's like, I would have no more need of you, and you know. But of course, when at the end, when he returns with the sons, she's like, no, I think I'll keep you around. Actually, go back to your mountain to sleep, and I'll call you again when I need you. So the last record ends kind of on a sad note. And then Abyss, he wakes up and he's by himself on a starship out in space. And he's just kind of like, what the heck? Where am I? What's going on? Where's the Matriarch? And he finally finds the grandson, who is sort of a secondary character on this album. And he's like, oh, yeah, no, the Matriarch is my grandmother. You killed my father. I'm here to exact revenge. And you think that he's going to hate the Immortal, but in fact, he is very kind to him, and they work together, and the Immortal grows very fond of him. And together they take on the Matriarch out in space.
Are you a fan of sci-fi movies
Oh,
or? Yeah.
yeah. Science fiction, books, comic books, movies, whatever, video games, also fantasy. I read a lot of fantasy. I just read like a lot of everything. I think a little bit of historical fiction and all that kind of stuff as well. So, and I love movies, like a huge, huge cinephile, and um, I love video games and comic books and yeah, pretty much anything I can get my hands on.
What's your top three movie?
First one is Willow for sure, by Ron Howard from the 80s. Second one, probably The Fifth Element, which is really,
Frank
yes, yeah,
Luc Besson.
yeah, so good. And third, Aliens. I love that. I love that movie. So good. Sigourney Weaver is like she's my hero in that. She's like what the woman I want to be, just strong, silent, badass type.
So next year, you plan to have a US or European tour?
Yeah, we're gonna do everywhere next year if COVID allows. We're gonna start with Europe and then do North America and then Australia, Japan, and South America. So we're gonna try and get absolutely everywhere next year if we can. So wear your masks, everybody, and social distance, so we can open the venues again.